Real Talk with Grace Redman features conversations with fierce and fabulous people from Grace's community and circle who inspire others with their stories of overcoming challenges to create amazing. Grace is an entrepreneur and success coach who works with individuals to diminish their negative mental chatter, boost their confidence, achieve their goals, and increase their prosperity mindset. Get ready for a series of anything goes conversations with remarkable men and women that will get you jazzed for life's unlimited possibilities of success, freedom, and fun. Welcome to Real Talk with Grace Redman.
It's Grace Redman, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us live today on this episode of Real Talk, where I get to have real life, raw conversations with incredible people from my circles and communities who have overcome challenges and created fabulous. Today, I'm so excited to be here with the incredible Claire Davis.
Yay!
Claire is a midlife health and happiness expert and one half of the husband and wife team behind multi-award-winning wellness company 38 Degrees North, which was founded 10 years ago in Ibiza and is now widely known as the Midlife Mentors. They have a highly successful 5-star rated podcast, The Midlife Mentors, which is designed to lift the lid on their no-nonsense approach to health and happiness over 40. They also help transform lives from the inside out through the Midlife Method 8-week program for body, mind, and soul. The method teaches midlifers how to lose belly fat, regain control, and feel comfortable in their own skin without making huge sacrifices. Claire, girl, I'm so happy to be here.
That's amazing. I'm gone now. You've done it all. I don't need to say anymore. That's amazing. Thanks so much. What an introduction. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're amazing. I've been following you for a while, and I love what you do. Because the struggle is real when we get to midlife, and it doesn't have to be a struggle, like you said. We can create, without sacrificing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to be here as well, because this has been a couple of months in the making. We just couldn't fit it in, could we? So it's great to be here. And it's one side of the beauty of social media, right? It can be incredibly toxic, but also connects people from around the world together like this.
Yes.
To come together and build a community of amazing women like this. I love it.
I love it too. And so tell them where you're at right now.
I am, at the moment, I'm in London, so I'm literally at our office in Camden Market. So we're literally in the hub of Camden Market, which is actually sunny today. We had 2 months. Talk about being very British. We had 2 months of rain when we got back. We also live in Marbella in Spain. So we got back and had 2 months of solid rain. I was like, take me back to Spain. It's nice now. It's nice.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell me, because I know you had a very successful career in PR.
Yeah, I did.
And what motivated you to leave that incredible successful career and become a health coach and now the Midlife Mentor?
Oh my goodness. So it's a long journey. It didn't feel like an incredible career to me because my first job was at Harrods. So I was in the marketing department in Harrods. That was my first job and it was brutal. So it was 1999 and it was brutal. And then I went into fashion PR and luxury design PR, and it never ever fitted. It never felt like a mask constantly, like I always say, like an uncomfortable pair of knickers. So it was just, it never suited me. And I was always trying to do other things. I became a life coach really young. I became a stress management consultant. I did work with Microsoft as an executive coach, but all this time I still kept the PR thing going. And it wasn't until my divorce, a very upsetting divorce for both parts, I ended up very, very low and depressed. I was put on antidepressants and I'd actually had kind of borderline eating disorders back in my past, but my weight ballooned, absolutely ballooned. I was drinking too much. There was some not great behaviour, some self-destructive behaviour. I wasn't into fitness, I wasn't into health, I wasn't into any of that really. I'd done the gym, but not really knowing what I was doing. And it saved me. It saved me, like nutrition, learning about nutrition, exercising, mainly resistance training. So kind of weights made me feel really powerful again. And I remember thinking, if I could bottle this feeling with my coaching, with my NLP that I do, and deliver it as a holistic approach, how amazing would that be? Because it's mind, body, and soul.
Yes. Yes. 100%, sister. And I could relate to what you're saying, because during the most difficult times in my life, when I too was, using alcohol and other things to cope, it was making it worse. And then I turned to fitness. I've always loved fitness, but in that time it saved me. And then that's when I started to get healthy, and I realized that mind, body, and soul is connected. It's not separate. It's not compartmentalized. It's all together.
Absolutely. And here's a crazy thing. In my 20s, I went really spiritual. I hate that word. But like really, really into myself, and kind of like really, and I loved it, and it was great. But then I neglected my success habits. I neglected my habits. I neglected my body. I neglected my relationships. So I was just literally like a retreat junkie. Obviously, we have retreats in it, but retreat junkie, and just, you have to have balance.
Yeah.
That's why I love what we do. If one is out of whack, it affects everything else. You pull one back in. If your health is your wealth, if you haven't got that dialed in, and you're looking in the mirror and you're not liking what you see, and you're being, that inner critic, and you're not feeling, you're sluggish, you're waking up without any energy, impacts your work, how much money you make, everything.
I agree. Everything. And one thing that I like what you said, we get healthy from the inside out. So tell me a little bit about that. What does that mean to you when we get healthy from the inside out?
I think it's about, a lot of the time our program, because I've got NLP background and stress management and stuff, and James is like super, super, super smart, so annoying, but he's got a psychology background, and like that is the bedrock of what we do. It's changing people's belief systems and their self-identity, because here's the thing, what most people do, they do the external work. So they go out and they do the gym routine, do the diet, they do the job, they get the career, but none of it, if your self-identity and your belief systems aren't aligned to that goal that you're going for, it will be short-lived, because it's called congruence theory. You might know this, congruence theory, it's psychology. If you're not congruent with what you're doing and what your belief systems are, something has to give. And most of the time it's that internal dialogue that will berate you and bring you down. And then you berate yourself even more because that hasn't stuck. It's like when people win the lottery. This is a crazy phenomenon. They've got, people that haven't been used to money then win the lottery, but they still have that feeling of fear around money, a feeling of lack. So they burn through their money and end up poorer.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenon. It's because they're not, I'm poor.
It's true. Well, like you said, it goes back to our beliefs, our belief system. And the deeper the belief is rooted in our identity, the more challenging it is to shift it. We can shift it, but it's unconscious. We don't even realize it's there.
Well, exactly. And that's what we say. That's the first thing we get people to do, is just be soft with themselves and compassionate with themselves, and be self-aware. Start noticing what your triggers are. Start noticing what feelings rise. And then what behavior follows that. Because we always say awareness precedes change. You can't transform anything unless you know what you're doing. But most people don't want to do that because it's painful.
It is. It's painful. And it's challenging because it needs commitment and consistency.
Yeah. Well, we're a quick win society, right?
Oh my, yes. Yeah. So it really is a delayed gratification, but is it really? Because I believe the moment we make the decision to be committed and consistent, those little things start showing up in our life to help us move forward. But we're looking for such a big win that we miss those little wins.
That's another thing. Exactly. So it's about every night just going, okay, what went well today? Well done, Claire. Well done, Grace. Like, what did I do well today? Not, what did I not do well? It's like, okay, what did I do? Well done. Well done. Because this inner critic, this voice, we wouldn't talk to our best friend, our worst enemy, in the way that it's this constant chatter. Totally. So it is like talking like, how would you speak to your best friend? You wouldn't speak to your best friend like that, would you?
No.
So it's about celebrating those little wins, and just momentum breeds momentum. The getting going is the hardest bit, friends, every single time. And I always say, stop stopping. Mm-hmm. As soon as you stop, even just a little, I always say like a little toenail in front, little foot, just anything is better than nothing. Because as soon as you drop off, you lose trust in yourself, and that belief system of you're a failure, comes back in.
I love that. I love what you just said, because and I feel like we sabotage ourselves because we expect to show up at 100% and climb that mountain tomorrow. No, if you just put one foot in front of the other, just one foot, one step today, that's better than nothing.
Well, it takes all the, again, another thing we always say is perfection is the enemy of progress.
Yeah.
Listen, I say this like so true. If James was here right now, he would totally back me up on this. I am a recovering perfectionist. My name's Claire, and I am a recovering perfectionist. It kept me back from living the life that I wanted and that I desire for so long. When James and I got together, I love talking about star signs. He's a Sagittarius. So he's a fire sign. So he just fires off a million arrows. A million. Doesn't matter if any of them hit, he just fires them off. And then Virgo, me, goes around trying to pick one of them up and make sense of it. But we've balanced each other out, because actually it is such an enemy of progress. It's trauma, actually. It comes from a trauma place. I have to be perfect, otherwise people will not love me.
100%. I mean, it's a trauma response, and I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I fall into the perfectionism at times, and I remind myself, that's a trauma response. And, one thing, we get more vulnerable, and I know we're going to talk about this, as we get to midlife and things start to change, and it makes us vulnerable. And then that inner critic, comes up even louder and stronger.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I did a post about this the other day. Actually, I think it might have been today. It's like, it's okay to outgrow your own life. I think it's okay to outgrow the life you've created for yourself. Be brave enough to look at, actually, who says everything should have been static? But we're brought up in a society that says, get the job, get the house, get the marriage, get the kids, get the this, get the this, get the this, and then you'll be fulfilled. And then you believe that. And actually, for a while, it might be what you want.
For sure.
But in midlife, you're like, I'm in the second act. We said this, but I'm in the second act of my life. Does this make me happy now? Does this fulfill me? Does this set me on fire? And here's the thing, it might have done, but now you're a different person. Mm-hmm. You've evolved, and as human beings, as spiritual conscious beings, we're supposed to be evolving and expressing ourselves constantly. It's an ever-changing thing.
Yeah.
So why are we holding ourselves? It's very scary, though. It's like you said, that's where the midlife crisis term comes from. It's like, my identity is wrapped up in this, but now I ain't happy. And I know I should be, because I did, sweat, blood and tears and years for this.
And I have everything.
I have everything. And, I feel like I just want to throw it all up in the air and see where it lands.
Right. So that's the struggle there is real. And also for us women, as we have things changing, we start questioning who we are. And I remember probably even before I turned 40, I mean, I'm 50 now, like I had this image of like midlife, and when you turned, like your life was going to end, it was going to be over, and it was going to be miserable, and you're going to be just unhealthy. And I was committed to do the best I can to not be that way. And my mom, unfortunately, she passed away at 50. So that was another reason for me to be, okay, like when I get to 50, like I'm not going down like that. And I know that you talk about, the common mistakes that we make at midlife and how maybe we can change them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was laughing, everyone that's watching, I was laughing with Grace, because this is my passion. Like, this is my passion, to make us women feel less alone. It's great that perimenopause and menopause is being talked about now, and midlife is being talked about. But there's still like taboo subjects and stuff. And people still don't necessarily want to talk about the anxiety, the depression, some of the sexual stuff that goes on. Like the just not feeling comfortable in your body, the lack of energy, the lack of sleep, and the grottiness. However, what I like to do is talk about these things, but put really, really positive spins on it. Not just faux positivity, but like proper strategies that you can start doing right from where you are. But you need to know what's going on physiologically for you to bring compassion to yourself. Because you're thinking, is that inner critic again? I can't believe, the diet I'm doing and the exercise I'm doing. I can't believe that none of this is working. And then I can't believe that I shouted at my husband again. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe, I'm doing everything to try and sleep and it's not working. It's this constant battle between your inner critic and your physiology.
Yes, it's real.
It's real, and this is what is really, really important, is to know what's going on. So I was laughing with Grace. I said, "Oh, three midlife mistakes. I've got 5.
We could go with 5, girl. We got time.
5, and then I've got like a million tips."
And like we said, the real talk with Grace Redman, we bring real and raw conversations, because we're not having this conversation anywhere about perimenopause, menopause, sex at this age. We're not having these conversations. So I'm glad that we can bring this to the table. Yeah,
I am. So one of the first ones I would say is, if you are one of these people that's like, oh my God, my belly fat. Here's the thing: as women, as our estrogen, our sex hormone drops, the studies have said that actually our fat does start to distribute from around our body straight to our belly. So the studies have actually shown that the fat actually starts to move towards our belly. So again, very real. It's a physiological thing that's happening with your hormones. So what happens is a lot of women get very frustrated. We see them doubling down on exercise. We see them treading, doing the treadmill, pounding the pavement. What's happening there is a lot of the time you're doing the completely wrong exercise for you. You're doing too much, and you're overstressing the central nervous system. What then happens is you raise cortisol, the stress hormone, and the stress hormone cortisol is linked to you holding on to more belly fat. So you have to be very, very careful about the kind of training that you're doing, with adequate rest, not doing too lengthy cardio, not overstressing that central nervous system, because you're actually negating and working against what you're trying to do if you're exercising.
So tell us a little bit about cardio, because we were cardio freaks. I know my friends who are watching know who we are.
Yeah.
And that's helpful. Of course, we need that, but that's not the end all.
No, absolutely not. So here's the thing. We did an interview on our podcast. It came out last week. It's how old is your body? It's called How old is your body? And basically, we're speaking to a scientist there that measures the age of your immune system. So bear with me, because I'm going to talk about the kind of best ways to do cardio as we age. So basically, they look at the age of your immune system, and believe it or not, some athletes are 20 years older. Their immune system is 20 years older. They measure them by glycans in their body. So basically, they did loads and loads of studies, massive studies. You can do a test actually, and we've got a discount on our podcast episode for everyone that listens to it. But across the board, everyone is different. There is no cookie cutter approach. This is why things don't work. Doing an Instagram star workout from a 20 whippersnapper is not going to work for you. But actually, one of the things that did work across the board to bring that age down was interval training.
Love interval training.
So it's how we work. It's a game changer for me, totally a game changer for me, a game changer for all of our midlife clients, because it's short, sharp, and effective. You're raising yourself up, you're coming down, you're raising your metabolic rate, which, as we know, is reducing as we age. Your muscle mass is decreasing. Muscle is metabolically active. So as your muscle decreases, your metabolic rate goes down. So it's basically about boosting your metabolic rate with these short, sharp boosts of HIIT, but not overstressing the central nervous system. So yes, you can go for runs. Yes, you can go for cycling. What we're saying is, as we age, we need to be really careful about the kind of cardio we're doing. And across the board, the studies that they've said is that actually interval training was the thing that brought someone's biological age down. From there, we've got chronological age, biological age. Their biological age was brought down with this one thing across the board. Amazing.
And I remember you saying also that we lose muscle mass as we age, and it's a good idea to, it doesn't have to be, we don't have to get in the gym and lift weights. It's using our body, like the bands, to help our muscles.
I was a massive snob about bands. Massive snob. Before lockdown in the UK, I'm out in Primrose Hill Park with my bands thinking, oh my goodness, I look like some Instagram star. They're not going to work. They're amazing. We use kettlebells with our clients anyway. You can get amazing results at home. You can use your body weight, of course, but then to progress you, because your body adapts, get a couple of kettlebells at home and some bands, and people's body shapes have transformed. Transformed on our program, from people that have said, I never thought my body could look like that. you know? So it's really important we do resistance training, really important, it's key. The NHS here used to say three exercise cardio sessions a week. Now it's two resistance training sessions, because our bone density decreases as we age. Otherwise, we're going to get osteoporosis. That's massive for us women. And muscle mass, your shape is never going to change as well just from doing cardio. You have to do resistance training, and it builds muscle, raising your metabolic rate.
So, which brings me to like calories, because we're always wanting to burn calories, and I know it's calories in, calories out. However, I think you mentioned this, and I've been dealing with some clients with this, like really reducing their calorie intake, when in reality, like we need to nurture our body. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Like one of the, the tips there in regards to our intake.
Yeah, see it all the time. Again, massively frustrated that we're getting more belly fat. We're not feeling comfortable about ourselves. So what do? We crash diet. And I was the diet queen. We try shakes. We try, oh my goodness, everything.
Me too, girl. Me too.
We try Arbonne. We try all these things.
The cabbage diet.
Yeah, and so replacing meals with shakes, it's your body, your metabolic rate, basically what your body's going to do is go, hang on a minute, you're starving me. I'm actually going to hold on to the belly fat now. I'm going to reduce my metabolic rate. Firstly, it does is lower your metabolic rate, because it's conserving the energy. You're not feeding it enough, so it's conserving its energy. So your baseline comes down here, so you reduce your baseline metabolic rate. When you go to eat normally again, I mean non-restrictive, not cutting out, like doing the keto diet. I don't like the keto diet. So anyone that's listening, I'm ever so sorry, but I don't like for massive scientific reasons. If you go right into ketosis and you stay there for a long period of time, all these things, your body is not going to cope with it. And then when you eat normally again, you go out for dinner, you have a life, your baseline's down here. So guess what? You're in a greater calorie surplus because your baseline's down here. Mm-hmm. You have to have a balanced diet. You have to be eating these are some of my tips. You have to be eating more protein, because protein triggers leptin. Leptin is your hormone that says I'm full. As us women age, our leptin reduces. So we have to eat more protein and try and get more protein in, because it will naturally trigger that leptin so you feel fuller for longer. Mm-hmm. So making sure you have balance.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Because I've done some crash diet. I think I'm echoing. Do you hear me echoing?
No.
Okay. So I hear you, because I've done so many crash diets in the past, and again, they would never work. I believe it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah, totally. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. You are never, people come to us, and I obviously told you about my relationship with food. It was awful. I had to, and everyone's like, oh, how quickly am I going to get results? I'm like, if you've been messing around with diets all your life, all these things, your gut flora, your gut health, your serotonin in your gut, you've imbalanced it, right? And your metabolic rate will also take a while. Your body's going to need some time and some love and some care to come back to equilibrium, to balance. Mm-hmm. And mind-body connection, right? Loving it and nurturing it, feeding it the right amount of macros, feeding it a grape, having a glass of wine sometimes if you want, having a pizza sometimes if you want. But it's about changing your relationship with food, which is in here.
Yes. So there was a book I read, because I struggled too. I never had a diagnosed eating disorder, but I know I had something going on. And I read this book called The Joshua Diet. And it's not even about diet. It's about your mindset, about your body, and about food. Like when you're putting the food in your body, if you're guilty eating it, that food is going to go straight to where you don't want it to.
Yes. And
if you're hating your body, if I hate my leg, they're not going to change. So it sounds bizarre, but it's like you said, it starts here.
It's visualizing, it's future pacing, right? We're going to talk about this. It's like future pacing. It's like, where am I going, and what belief systems do I need? What beliefs are currently here that's scuppering that, and what belief systems do I need to change? And that's where all that soul stuff comes in, the gratitude, the thinking what I do have instead of what I don't have, what I do love about my body, otherwise you're just constant. Your body hears everything you say.
Yes.
Your body responds to everything you say.
Yes. So for the audience that's watching that might not know what future pacing is, can you tell us what future pacing is?
Yeah, it's basically about visualizing yourself at a certain point in the future, and really, I do like a guided meditation with our clients. It's a part of our app because it's on an app, and they can listen to it whenever they want to really touch in with that person they're becoming, and actually making them believe that person exists. That person is there, waiting for you to step into. You've just met it, so you meet your future self. That's how we do it. You meet your future self. You hear what it has to say. You see what she's wearing, what she's saying, how the energy of her, and meeting her. And then actually I always say, you hold your hands and you say to the version of you now, the future one says, thank you for never giving up on me.
Yes.
Thank you for never giving up on me. I'm here, I'm real.
Yes. And if we visualize it, it's because it's there. It just has to come out.
Yeah, and your body, neuroscience says your body cannot distinguish between, the brain does exactly the same things of when you're doing it and when you're imagining it. So it's creating the same chemical reactions in your body. So it's the same thing, your body's responding in the same way. It's as if it's happening. It's fascinating. It's amazing.
It's fascinating. And so if we continue to visualize our future self and start shifting that mindset, what begins to happen?
You start making those decisions. First is awareness. First is awareness of what's not working, being kind to yourself, but not what's not working. And then when you keep meeting that future self, it's doubled down with affirmations. I'm a massive believer in affirmations and gratitude and things like that. It's energy. So actually what happens is when you keep meeting that future self, what you start realizing is you have an affirmation that you're using, and you're kind of like, okay, that sounds more like this part of myself. And you start to distinguish between what sounds like the negative nanny self and the future self. And you're like, actually, I'm at a choice point here. I can go this way or this way.
Yes.
But the more you start really tapping into that, the easier you find it is for your beliefs and your identity to become congruent with what you're doing, your actions. Mm-hmm. You're integrating that person into your sense of self. Mm-hmm. And so it's very conscious at the beginning. It's very conscious. It's like, oh, I'm thinking that again. Oh, that's a ball. What would this one think? It's a lot of hard work. It's consistent. It's consistency.
Well, it's commitment and consistency, and also our negative thoughts become habits.
Yes.
And as we become aware and we start reframing, then the more committed and consistent we are to that reframing becomes a habit, and you automatically within seconds you should make that shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing that we get with clients all the time, and I get with myself, sometimes I'll be on a roll with it, and then sometimes I'll fall off a cliff with it. So it happens to all of us. Sometimes I'm really into it, and then sometimes, this is a really interesting thing, you actually realize how important it is when you stop doing it. And again, I always say, you don't know the light without the dark, so don't be too hard on yourself. You can't, your desire is even stronger to get back into that place once you've let it slip. So there's a reason for everything. And so because life gets in the way, especially with what's going on in the world right now. Oh, God, it's just bombarding with negative, subliminal messaging constantly. This is why we say, one of the things we say is, one of my tips is make sure you have a really strong morning ritual, routine where you're not so many people go, oh, I'm looking at the news, I'm looking at my social media, straight away you're giving your power away straight away.
Yes, I totally believe in that.
Everything vying for your attention.
Totally. And I believe in morning ritual, and there can be 100,000 different morning rituals. Can you tell us a little bit about your morning ritual and how that helps you start your day?
Yeah, of course. So in the morning, literally between sleeping and waking, you're in a place called Theta State, which is when your brain is primed to be reprogrammed and take on new information. So literally as soon as I open my eyes, I'm really antisocial to James. I'm like, hiya. Stick my headphones in, and I listen to some affirmations of other people. I love Insight Timer. Love Insight Timer, because you can pick 5 minutes. And, I've got my favourites on there, and it's like a 5-minute I'm enough.
I love it.
The most fundamental part of most of our suffering is I am not enough. I am not enough.
That is the core theme story for all of us. Even Gino.
Yeah, it's underneath everything, and actually rewiring, reprogramming your brain to know that you are enough with all your imperfections, and you always have been, and there's nothing to prove. There's nothing to, it's, you've come in with nothing, you're going to go out with nothing other than your sense of how much fun you had, how much you played. That's how much you played.
Oh, Claire, my second act, I'm all about the fun and the play and the family. I worked too hard the first act.
Yeah.
But when we are playful and fun, it's not like, okay, I'm being frivolous, I'm not being serious. But when we're in that vibration of fun and playfulness,
joy,
when we are in joy, we open ourselves up to attract and bring more.
I know. And you only, that creative process is a long, I never ever want people to think, I know you're exactly the same, I never want people to look at me and go, oh, she's got it all figured out. She's got it all, blah, blah, blah. I have not got it all figured out. There are days when I've got a cloud over me, and again, this is hormonal, but cloud over me, and I'm just like, that's probably hormones. But then, deep within you, if you can keep grounding yourself back to your heart space, and doing like a meditation with that every morning. So that's what I was saying actually. So I'll get up, I'll listen to the I'm enough, I'll get up, I'll do like a 5-minute meditation, just connecting with my heart. I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for, but I just don't write them down and pay lip service. I feel them.
Yes.
I feel them. Most people go, they don't feel them. And then set your intention for the day. We have a million priorities, a million. What's the one today? And that will change, right? What's the one priority or intention today? And then I do an affirmation. Sometimes I'll scribe. It's different all the time. I get very bored.
Well, that's why there's so many different tools we can use, which you brought up, the subject of, kind of dipping and feeling down, and that's attributing it to hormones. And I can relate to that because I can feel it right away. Like I'll start feeling some type of way, and I know these tools like the meditation, the scribing, definitely help that. What else can you tell our audience who may be going through that perimenopause, menopause, to help them when they're in those mood shifts?
Yeah, don't go for the booze. Right, okay, it might relax you. I'm not saying don't have a tipple, but when you're feeling like that, physiologically, it's actually the worst thing you can do, because there is, booze is alcohol, wine, full of laden with sugar, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going to go on an insulin roller coaster, and when you slump down, it actually brings your mood down.
Got it.
So you're going to be up and down on this. And the thing is, as we age as well, we become what we call more insulin resistant. So our blood, our body isn't as, it doesn't process the sugars in our blood system as easily. So we become more insulin resistant. So basically what you're doing is you're insulin resistant anyway, you're applying it with sugar to try and relax you. But what you're doing is you're taking that sugar up. And again, physiologically as well, that's when you don't use sugar. So let me explain it this way. Sugar, carbohydrates, they're our primary source of energy, right? That's where when you go into ketosis, you don't eat carbs, you don't have sugar, and you start tapping into your fat reserves. That's the premise behind it. But I wouldn't recommend that. So carbohydrates are your primary source of energy. When it doesn't get used up, it turns into sugar and it goes straight to your belly. So anything that's not used up, that's why I always say front load your carbs. Front load your good carbs.
Like in the morning.
Yeah, and that will help stabilize your mood as well. So have oats, protein, berries, things like that. At lunch, you might want to have half a slice of sourdough with some scrambled egg and some smoked salmon, something like that. And then in the evening, really, really super light. So some vegetables, some leafy greens, chicken, fish, all that sort of stuff. Because what you don't want to do is send your insulin sky high just before you go to bed because you're not using it.
And I noticed I'm a sugar addict.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when my mood does dip and I'm in that hole, that I go for the
Well, that's because 90% of your serotonin is created in your gut. So 90% of your happy hormone, serotonin, is created in your gut. They call the gut the second brain. So when you are on a sugar low, or you're just feeling low mood, you're going to want those sugary, starchy foods to make you feel better, to send those signals back. Yeah. Here's the thing: if you can ride that out, and you can grab some high protein snack. I love having like some nut butter, a teaspoon of nut butter with some apple. Or some celery or something like that, that's great. Or a handful of nuts, just protein and good fats, rather than the sugar, which is going to send you up and slump you right back down again, because your body can't cope with that amount of sugar going into it. So you're just going to be going up and down, your mood's going to be going up and down. So that's one of the things I would say. Booze is, we think it's a relaxant, but the things it's doing to our body is putting our body under loads and loads of stress, and actually the more sugar's linked to lowering your immune system as well. It's linked to all sorts of disease. Sugar is, what I would say is you really need to look out for hidden sugars. Sugar's in everything. You take the fat out of something, low fat often means high sugar. Right. So check your food labelling. You're looking for carbohydrates of which sugar. Because a lot of these healthy bars, we saw one the other day, healthy bar by some, a company that we know. And it's supposed to be in the UK, 22.5 grams of sugar per 100 grams is a high sugar product. This one was 35 grams per 100 grams, and it was saying it was a healthy bar.
So we have to pay attention to the labels.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And I learned that. I did learn that a long time ago, because I would always have the non-fat. And then someone said, well, you better eat the full fat, because when you're eating non-fat, there's chemicals in it and the sugar content is really high. So, and I never realized that affected our mood.
Massively. Okay. Massively. It's like it creates anxiety and depression. Like there's links to anxiety and depression. So this is why at midlife, if we're experiencing these high and low mood, the reason we're experiencing low mood is because when our estrogen starts to dip, estrogen helps with the production of serotonin. So when our estrogen dips, our serotonin dips. So that's physiological. That is what's happening. So your low mood isn't you just being a graggy old nut, it's actually something that's going on in your body. So you're not producing as much serotonin. So doing things like getting out, getting vitamin D, getting out into nature, doing some meditation, connecting with yourself, doing things that bring you joy, not over it, not burning yourself out. Because these are things that are going to raise cortisol as well and put massive pressure. Here's one thing I do want to share with you. Talking about sex, right? When we are in, just talk about sex. So when you are stressed, really in a high stress state, cortisol, and I'm going to get a bit technical now, but cortisol goes down one branch of the hormone pathway, and DHEA goes down another one, and then that goes to estrogen and progesterone, our sex hormones. Progesterone is the mother hormone. When you're stressed, it goes straight down to cortisol and robs any of it from DHEA and your sex hormones. So when you're stressed, you literally are robbing yourself of your sex life, of your libido. So, again, that's not just you. That's management of stress. You have to manage stress.
And what can you do? I mean, we talked about like eating right, the morning ritual, the exercise, strength training. What can we? Because we're still young and vibrant.
Absolutely. So vitamin D really helps. That's really helps with supplementation. I've just started taking Dong Quai. That's actually Dong Quai's really helpful for mood. And making sure that you are boosting your immune system, like with vitamin C, making sure that you are getting enough calcium as well for our bones, but making sure that you're nourishing your body as optimally as possible most of the time, 80% of the time. What else I would say is with stress, prioritize yourself. Give yourself permission to prioritize yourself, and then plan in when you are having you time, because this is the anti-selfish behavior. If you're strung out, if you're burnt out, you are going to be anything for your loved ones. I always say stress is the silent killer, and I'm sorry to make that sound really dramatic, but it really is. We're so used to being at a low level, this hum. Our body was never supposed to be here, but we've got so used to being at this hum. Now we think it's normal until the body says, no, it's not. So you have to prioritize your downtime. Go out for walks in nature, get vitamin D, exercise. Don't overstress the body. Do some yoga. Make sure that if you are feeling these things about midlife and the midlife crisis, you go and talk to someone. You get some help. That you connect. That is the one thing. Gratitude and giving, connection, oxytocin. Giving releases oxytocin in our body, and it's the connection hormone. It's what you have when you have children, when you pet dogs. It's the connection. I tell you what, when I feel low, best thing I can do is jump on a coaching call and coach someone. I don't want to do it sometimes. I'm like, I'm not going to be very good. I'm not going to be great now. But when I jump on, we'll do it. When we jump on and we're like coming from this heart space, you're like, just get your shit together, Claire. Come from here. I come away and I'm like, well, I think I got more out of that than they did.
Right?
Because we get and we give, they give, I get.
Yes.
It's a selfish thing. Giving and connection. We're humans, and that's why it's been so hard in the last year and a half, because connection has been taken away. Yeah.
Because I'm a big connector, and you're totally right. When those times I'm feeling low, and that's something I teach, is like, what give back? How can you pay it forward? Once you pay it forward, you feel better. And same thing, sometimes I have a coaching client and I'm feeling low. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to suck right now. But once I get on there and the heart activated, like my mood.
Totally. And you know that they've got such an amazing experience, but you're like, oh my goodness, like, how do I not know this every single time? I've got this blue cloud over me a little bit that I can't shake off, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be, and then how do I not know this by now? That when I do it, it's amazing.
Well, the imposter syndrome is also a real thing,
Yes, I've done a podcast. We've done a podcast on that, and everyone loved it. I'm so real on that. Like, yeah, it's a real thing. And every level, I love this phrase as well. At every new level, there's another devil.
Yes.
Oh, you're there again, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So I'm leveling up. You're there. There's another devil. There's another limiting belief that comes up.
That's
or
right.
There's another memory that comes up. Or you have a dream about something. You're like,
That's right.
Public speaking is, still is to a degree, something for me.
Oh, me too.
Yes.
And like you said, and I had a client yesterday, and she was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Like, I've done all this work. And I said, girl, we're leveling up. And when we level up, I like how you said it, new level, new devil. There's going to be other layers, and you're going to continue to grow and expand, and just, at least you're aware now what those beliefs are.
Yeah, but there's loads of famous actors and actresses that say this and publicly said this, like they won a Golden Globe and then they go home with it. And then I can't remember who it was it Emma Watson, I think, that said that she took it home and she thought someone's going to knock on the door and go, excuse me, we got that wrong. Excuse me, can I have that back?
Right. It goes back to the inner critic. It goes back to our fourth story that we're not good enough. And we all have it because our ego was created to keep us safe, but we're not cave people anymore. We don't have to run from the saber-toothed tiger. Right?
Beautiful. It's there to keep you safe. It's there, it's done a good job. And I always say, like some people in this world, they're like, just take it. I'm like, no, I can't do that to mine, because actually through certain traumas in my life, it really saved me.
Yes.
It's my protector. It's my protector. And at that time, if he hadn't, it is a he actually, if he hadn't have been there, mine is, if he hadn't have been there, I wouldn't have been able to function. But actually, it's when it becomes counterintuitive, when it actually stops you moving to the next level. That's when you have to, and then I softly speak to it. I'm like, I know you love me. Yes. I know you wanted to help me, but can we just agree to do things a bit differently this time?
I love that, because some people are like, let me get rid of the ego. And I don't, for me, I don't believe my ego's there to serve me. I know it's supposed to, kept me safe. And even the beliefs that even stopped serving me were there for a purpose. So what I do the same thing, say, okay, thank you. I hear you, but we're going to do this different, because that's an important part of us.
Yes.
It's just learning. And just learning how to have a relationship with it where it's not running you.
Yeah. And like, to say it doesn't exist, it's also, for me, I suppose, it's like the inner child, because all of those things were built around inner child. You can't go, I just reject you, because that little child, that little girl is like, what? You keep doing this. You keep doing this. You're not hearing what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to tell you something. So actually listening to it and going, okay, I'm here, I'm listening. And then you write it down. Yeah, acknowledging it.
And honoring, like you said, because it saved you. I mean, it saved me too. But then we get to a point where it's no longer serving us. And it's, especially now when we get we said to midlife, and we want to enjoy the second half. I'll tell you what, I'm enjoying the second half way more than the first half, because I feel like, again, the commitment, the consistency, the habits, and the mindset. So
absolutely.
So let me ask you a question. If you can talk, is there a life after midlife?
Is there a life after midlife? Yeah. Well, we have. I mean, like, where do you say midlife, right? I say, like, I don't know, 40 to 60 is what we normally say, 40 to 60. And then we've got people, oh my goodness, we've got the most amazing couple. If they're watching this, you might be watching this, the most amazing couple doing our program together. And they're, I'm going to get this wrong, 63 and 64, or something like that. They're in the best shape of their life.
I love it.
They run their own business in the US, so US and in London as well, in the UK, so they go between the two. They are smashing their 60s, like smashing it, and they're finding each other sexy. Like they're like this. She's getting a new swimsuit. She's like, I'm looking at her going, I want that when I'm in your age. She's just glowing, and she's able to deal with all her work. I mean, these people are like running a massive business with hundreds of people, and with all different time zones, and they're getting up and they're smashing it, and they're giving their younger ones a run for their money.
I love it.
So yes, absolutely. And here's the thing: midlife is the time where we look at not just how long we want to live, God willing, but the quality of that life. The quality.
That's the main thing. The quality.
The quality. Like we're in a world now where you can keep people going, but the quality of that life. And the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today, now. Don't wait for your body to give you niggles or a big sledgehammer. When you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
Yes.
You don't have anything, because this body is your home. You need it in order to do everything. And the mind-body connection, if your body's failing, this then fails. So important to make sure that, those older years, those retirement years are beautiful, and you can do the things that you want to.
Yes. I'm 100% in on that. And I'd love you to tell our audience about your 8-week program, Mind, Body, Soul.
Yes, so we've got an 8-week program. Thank you very much. We've got an 8-week program called the Midlife Method, and underpinning it all is basically changing your mindset, really, about yourself, and helping you regain control of your body, mind, and soul, so that you feel comfortable in your own skin. So yes, you drop some pounds, but more that you feel more in control of your life, because you deserve that. And it's so, once you get that, the positive aspects in the rest of your life, the positive influence it has is just phenomenal. We see it all the time. It's not to be underestimated. So that's the main bedrock. And then obviously we've got a movement, we've got 6 pillars, we've got midlife movement. This is all in an 8-week program. It's all on an app. So we've got our own app, which was a labour of love. But six pillars. So midlife movement, midlife nutrition, midlife hormones, success mindset, emotional well-being, and mentoring. So they're the six pillars that make up the Midlife Method, and it's an inside-out transformation. If you're just looking for an exercise program, move along. It's this. It's 80% mindset, 20% doing, but when they're congruent, those 8 weeks, you're just like that.
Transformation.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And where can they find you, Claire?
If you go to the midlifementors.com, so the Midlife Mentors with an S.com, it's all on the site. So, and also you can book a call. If you go through, you've got any questions at the top of the page, you can just book a call, and then you can have a chat with myself and James as well if you wanted to. But yeah, everything's on our website, themidlifementors.com.
Awesome. And I will also put that information in the podcast and in this video.
Go and listen to our podcast as well, guys. This
podcast is amazing.
It's free content. We've been going since 2019, and we're in the top 2% of global podcasts now.
I love it. And I had the privilege of having you on today.
It's been amazing, babe. It's been absolutely amazing. I love your work. I love your energy. You're just such a beautiful soul. And anyone that has the privilege of working with you, you're just, absolutely very, very lucky people.
Thank you. And I feel the same about you. And I look forward actually to doing more talks and collaborations with you. I think this is an important subject, and I just want to keep bringing it to the table because there's so much to cover.
God, there's so much to cover. We like touch the tip of the iceberg there. So I'd love to be back. I'd love to come back.
Yes, I will definitely have you back for sure because I think this is so important. And thank you everyone for watching and for watching today and for listening. And I will put Claire's information in there because definitely we got this on the second act. We can live a fun and fabulous life regardless of our age. So make it a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Claire. Hey, love. Thank you so much for listening today. I am so grateful for you. I'd like to show you my appreciation by gifting you a free forgiveness self-hypnosis audio download. Part of living the fun and fabulous life is practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness can be such a long and challenging process. My intention is that this forgiveness audio will help you in practicing forgiveness, especially with yourself. Grab it by visiting dareToAchieve.com/forgiveness. For more inspiring tips, make sure to connect with me on social media. Drop me a line on Facebook or Instagram at Grace Redman Dare to Achieve. Until next time, keep moving forward towards living your fabulous life.